In August 2022, the film industry was shocked to its core when actor Anne Heche passed away after getting into a fatal car accident that left her in a coma for several days. Known for her iconic roles in the horror thriller genre, Heche left behind a legacy that will be remembered for years to come. So in honor of that, we've decided to look at some of the actor's most memorable performances. First up, My Friend Dahmer. My Friend Dahmer is a 2017 film that sort of serves as a real-life prequel showing American serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer as a high schooler, just months before he set on his killing spree. Starring alongside Ross Lynch and Dallas Roberts, Heche plays the role of Jeffrey's mother, Joyce Dahmer. And let's just say she left absolutely zero crumbs. She portrays Joyce's mental illness and inner struggle in a way that only a few actors could have pulled off. The film shows Joyce doubting her relationship with both her husband and her son as she relapses deeper into chronic mental illness. We see everything get torn apart. Most people would agree that Heche and Roberts really took the bitter married couple trope to a different level during their intense fight scenes. And sure, this wasn't one of Anne's most extensive roles, but you can't deny that she made the most of the little time she was given on screen. Up next, Wag the Dog. Wag the Dog is a dark comedy that is regarded as one of the greatest political satires of all time. The film follows Washington spin doctor Conrad Breen, or Robert De Niro, and White House aide Winifred Ames, Anne Heche, as they tried to produce a phony war between the U.S. and Albania, with help of Hollywood hotshot producer Stanley Moss, played by Dustin Hoffman, to try and distract the public from a sex scandal involving the president and an underage girl. Sounds interesting, right? De Niro and Heche do a great job at setting an appropriately queasy and cynical tone for the film with their witty dialogue delivery and facial expressions. While not the perfect plot for an actor like Heche to show off her acting chops, the seasoned actor still did a great job portraying a rather flat character like Winifred Ames. Moving on to Walking and Talking. 1996 Walking and Talking was one of Anne Heche's initial big movie roles. The movie, as the title suggests, is mostly focused on the small things in everyday life. Well, everyday life if you're a rich white woman living in New York in the mid-90s at least. Anyways, the movie follows two childhood friends, Laura, played by Anne Heche, and Amelia, played by Catherine Keener, as they try to come to terms with the fact that they're almost 40. Laura hastily gets engaged to her boyfriend but starts getting cold feet before the marriage, and Amelia breaks up with her boyfriend for a video store clerk. At its core, Walking and Talking is a lighthearted story about two best friends as they try to find a balance between their love life and friendship. Sure, the story might not sound groundbreaking, but the movie is worth a watch for Anne Heche and Catherine Keener's performances alone. And hey, the plot isn't too shabby itself. Next up, Nothing Left to Fear. With a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 4.4 rating on IMDb, 2013's Nothing Left to Fear is a movie you can either absolutely love or hate to the point where you never want to hear its name again. But one thing's for sure, it will make you feel something. The movie follows Pastor Dan, played by James Tupper, and his wife, Wendy, played by Heche, as they move to the small town of Stoll, Kansas. And in true small-town horror flick fashion, we soon find out that the town is cursed. In fact, it's so cursed that it's literally the gate to hell. The film takes inspiration from a lot of cult classics like Children of the Corn, The Exorcist, and The Ring. While fans are divided about their opinion of the film, everyone seems to agree on one thing: Anne Heche should have gotten more screen time, especially considering that horror was the genre where she shined the most. And now let's have a look at Armed Response. This 2017 film revolves around a special forces team that's investigating the disappearance of a previous crew. Heche plays an agent called Riley who accompanies the team as they try to escape a high-tech military compound. If you're a fan of blood, guts, and everything in between, this is definitely the film for you. Just don't go in expecting an Oscar-level plotline. A lot of people even criticized Heche for agreeing to work in a movie like this, given how good of an actor she was. But we think that if it weren't for Anne, this movie would have had 0 plus points. Next up, we have Volcano. Volcano is a 1997 action thriller starring Anne Heche alongside heavy hitters like Don Cheadle, Tommy Lee Jones, and Gabby Hoffman. The film takes place in downtown Los Angeles after an earthquake runs rampant through the city. This movie gave Heche the chance to finally explore her acting chops as geologist Amy Barnes. The film follows Amy and Mike Rourke as they embark on a selfless mission to save Los Angeles by blocking lava from flowing into their city. The movie was able to make more than $122 million at the box office and is considered to be one of Anne Heche's more commercially successful movies. Not only this, but Amy Barnes is also regarded by many as one of the actor's most likable characters. Now let's look at Donnie Brasco. It's 1970s New York, and old-school mobster lefty Al Pacino takes on his new kid Donnie's Johnny Depp's protege. But what Lefty doesn't know is that Donnie is actually FBI agent Joseph Pistone. The movie is a classic mob story, and while it's nowhere near classics like Goodfellas or The Godfather, it still has its shining moments. Heche plays Pistone's clueless wife, Maggie, who has absolutely no idea where her husband is or what he's up to. Apparently, it's for her own good, but as the movie goes on, it sure doesn't feel like it. On paper, the character may seem like a cliche, but somehow, Heche manages to breathe life into the stereotypical clueless wife role. Some even think that it was these cliche and pigeonhole roles where Anne really gave it her all. It's almost like she was trying to prove something. And well, if you ask us, she was successful in doing so with her role as Maggie. Next up, we have I Know What You Did Last Summer. Now, this movie needs no introduction for people who love slasher movies. Written by Kevin Williamson and directed by Jim Gillespie, I Know What You Did Last Summer is nothing short of a cult classic. The film stars Anne Heche as Melissa Missy Egan, alongside Jennifer Love and Ryan Felipe. The film follows three friends who accidentally hit a person while driving to the beach. Now, instead of calling 911 as many normal person would do, these teens decide to dump the body in the water. But just as they're about to do so, the pedestrian wakes up and attacks them. The rest of the film follows the group as they face the repercussions of their actions. While Heche's role in this movie can be considered a side character at best, it's still super memorable and honestly one of her best performances on the big screen. Heche plays the role of Missy, who is essentially someone who only shows up to move the plot along perfectly. And despite being given such a diminishing role, she still made the best of it and managed to stand out in a film with lots of big names. And finally, let's talk about Psycho. Like most Anne Heche films, 1998 Psycho also has a lot of people divided. Directed by Gus Van Sant, the decision to remake Alfred Hitchcock's 1960s horror classic shot for shot, take for take was definitely a curious one. Most people would agree that the movie in no way matches up with the original, but that doesn't mean it's bad. Heche played Marion Crane, who is an impulsive pencil pusher with a lot of debt. The young woman instantly seals her fate when she checks into the cursed Bates Motel. While it's true that Heche gave a more brittle performance than Janet Leigh did in the original, it sort of works. In a weird way, of course. Heche's performance in the infamous shower scene where Norman stabs and kills Marion is definitely something worth raving about. It's a shame that her performance in this film never really got acknowledged, since she did a really good job portraying the self-centered Marion Crane. But if we're being honest, the film never really had a chance to begin with. The film was doomed from the day Van Sant decided his version was going to be a carbon copy of the original. There was no way it would be able to match up, and that's really unfortunate because most of the actors involved gave genuinely good performances. That's a wrap for this video. What is your favorite Anne Heche performance of all time? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.